Hello everyone, in this simple tutorial I will show you when to use Boolean reference type instead of Boolean primitive type. In Java we have a similar problem when we are dealing with int and integer, and we are also always confused about when to choose int instead of integer and vice versa. We know that when we want to use int is when we have a loop or a lot of iteration or a lot of calculation, and we want to want that calculation to be more efficient because we want to avoid a lot of boxing and unboxing overhead, and or when we need to return, we don't need to return a null value or to avoid a null pointer exception in our code. And we want to use integer, the reference type, when we are dealing with generics or collections, or we want to return a null value, or simply when we want to use the compare or passing built-in methods in the integer object reference type. So in this video I will show you a real example. I have a simple to-do app and I have a controller here, and I'm passing a to-do DTO here as a parameter, and I'm annotating that DTO with a valid annotation. If we go to the DTO record, we are seeing that we are annotated with not null here, and we have description which is string, and we have is completed, which is a Boolean reference type. Now, as you know, not null will give us a string will give us that when we are passing null in our request, it gives us that the is completed is null, or it will give us a method argument not valid, something like that. And we'll see that in action here. I'm gonna call this endpoint and pass a null here for the object, and we are getting this message, and this message actually is handled differently than what we will see in the default Spring Boot error message, because here I'm having a global handler exception, and I'm handling that exception, and I'm returning a valid error response and a map of those messages. That's why you are seeing that message. And here if we go back, you can see that I'm passing null and I've got the error. Let's say that I change it, that is completed, and instead of Boolean I choose Boolean primitive type. And let's run our app. Now let's wait for the app to boot, and I think it's started. So now I'm gonna run our request, and I'm passing null, and you may think that we will get the same error, and the object is created, and that's because is and completed is false, and we know that we pass null. That's because is completed, as you know, is a Boolean primitive type, and a Boolean primitive type is something that doesn't return any null, and per default the Boolean primitive type will get a false value. So be careful when we are choosing Boolean instead of Boolean reference type. Thank you for watching.